this Oliver Anthony kid comes out of nowhere from North Carolina, I think he's from. And I saw Jason Howerton, who used to be at the Blaze. I saw his tweet, and then I saw Tyler Carden, who is the CEO of the Blaze. I saw him tweet this Oliver Anthony kid's song. I'm calling him a kid. Everybody's a kid to me these days, I think. And he's singing this song, which I thought was genius, Rich Men North of Richmond. And it's just kind of bluegrassy hardcore. He's plucking on this dobro, and he's shouting out these lyrics. And the thing blew up. It exploded. And I shared it numerous times. I'm a fan. I think what this guy's doing, at least at this stage in the game, is great. I think I like the song. It resonated with me. I understand. See, the thing about music is people say, well, there's this wrong with this lyric. And I'll shut up. Listen, you can hear somebody's heart and soul in good music. It's not about writing, some haiku or some onomatopoeia so that you can judge it in Elizabethan poetry class or whatever the hell you do. You can feel this kid's heart. And so, my first response, I texted Jason Howerton. I texted some others. John Rich said he's willing to produce this guy's album. And various other friends that are involved with this guy now, I've talked to them. And I said, I hope he's ready for what's coming his way, both the good and the bad, because kudos to him on the success. Going viral, when it hits you, it's like winning the lottery. You don't necessarily know what to do with it. I said back in 2015 when my stuff started going viral that I felt like the easiest way to describe it was somebody threw open the front door to my house and just started rummaging through my underwear drawer because they immediately want to find out everything about you. They judge you. You're just cast out there on the altar. So I hope this guy's ready for what's coming his way, and I think he's got some support around him. And I don't need to play there's no need to play the video again, but the reason I tie this in after the Dennis Prager comment is because he makes a statement in there, and I tweeted this out. I think it's a great lyric. It's pretty creative. He says, I wish politicians cared about minors, not minors on an island somewhere. And again, he's talking about, it's amazing to me, again, with the outrage, how many people now, particularly on my Twitter, which if you're not following, it's @WatchChad, X, whatever it's called now, are saying this is a pro-pedophilia song. Dude, the stretch and the reach, the mental gymnastics that you got to do to get to that point, and I mean, that's because, again, the progressive left always has to spin a narrative. They have to latch on to something that they don't like, and they have to find a way to twist it in their sick fucking minds to make it something that it just absolutely is not. These are the people why I reserve the right to use the F word every now and then. This is why, because it just pisses me off so much that these people are that imbecilic. They're saying, is he saying that they're not interested in pursuing pedophiles like, on Epstein's Island? He's saying, I had certain conservative and even faith-based influencers that reached out to me over the weekend, and I won't name their names, and they said, explain that line to me. I'm having a hard time understanding what he's meaning by that. And when I explained it, they said, oh, well, we're stupid. And I was like, well, I'm not going to say that publicly, but what he's saying is they pay attention to it because they were involved in it. They were involved in the trafficking, things like Epstein's Island. They were the ones that we know deep in our hearts. They're the ones who protect it. If they're not protecting it, then why don't we know who's on the damn list? So it's like they're concerned about it because, and then various people are going, why would he be saying politicians care about it? They're not doing any investigating. That's his point. That's the whole damn point. Then I've had other people who want to fake the outrage and say, see, he talks about working for bullshit pay. That's why we got to raise the minimum wage. Like, you guys will really grasp at anything.
It's funny. Point. It kind of reminds me of how Kurt Cobain got driven insane because people were always reading weird things into his lyrics. Like, that's exactly what's going to happen to this guy. People are going to twist every little word he wrote one way or the other. And it's funny because when I listened to it, it reminded me of like an anti-Vietnam War song from like the mid-'60s.
It's what we were talking about with Mike and Bassiani on the show last week. It's a protest song.
Yeah.
And he pops off with this thing, and it's just a backwoods way of communicating angst and plucking a dobro on the edge of the woods while the dogs are sleeping at your feet. I mean, it's really, you guys, the philosophy, the fake philosophy that goes into trying to deduct using some kind of syllogism to figure this thing out blows my mind. And it's like, no, this is a pro-pedophile song, you guys are idiots. I mean, you guys are absolute idiots to say anything like that. So I wish him the best. I've listened to a couple of his songs now. I mean, I'm not adding a ton of it to my playlist because it just kind of, I mean.
He's raw. I mean, he's recording things on an iPhone.
I mean, he said that song was the first one he didn't do on an iPhone.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate where he's coming from. I did add the song to one of my main playlists. I like it. He's got a couple of songs out there that I'm like, damn, he dishes it out. If you dig back, he's got some stuff where he goes after both sides.
Yeah.
I think he goes after both sides in this. When he says rich men north of Richmond, he's talking about every politician in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
And you know what? Not just the men, the women too. Okay? Since we're reading
and the theys and the thems. Let's not forget them.
It's the theys and the thems. But yeah, Rolling Stone went after it. Of course, Rolling Stone also went after Sound of Freedom, bunch of pedo groomers. The Rolling Stone says that the song is not popular with conservatives because of the struggle and frustration that everyday Americans encounter in a deteriorating United States. Instead, he contends that a look at the lyrics may suggest another reason why rich men north of Richmond is appealing to right-wing influencers. Anthony rails against high taxes and the value of the dollar, but also wades into some Reagan-era talking points about welfare. Says the writer's also taken aback by the lyrics condemning convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein and child sex trafficking. Quote, the real head-turner, though, is an apparent allusion to Jeffrey Epstein's Caribbean island where the billionaire and convicted sex offender allegedly introduced underage girls to powerful associates. He also talks about human trafficking. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. They go, there's, again, turn the blind eye and try to burn down something that doesn't exist in that regard. So
well, like to your point, Chad, it's funny that like we've become so polarized. We can't just appreciate good art. Like it's just a good outrage song. Yeah. Like if Da Vinci made the statue of David now, we'd have people showing up being like, this is right-wing art. He's clearly trying to push.
Look how toxic that is.
Yeah, they're pushing the patriarchy. This is disgusting.
Yeah. Look how big his hands and his feet are.
Yeah, they'd show up at the Sistine Chapel being like, well, this is clearly liberal bullshit.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's hey, listen, I said to somebody over the weekend, I said, you know what? Tyler Childers' song, In Your Love, it's a great freaking song.
Yeah.
It's a great freaking song, regardless of what he puts in the video. It's a great freaking song. I like the song. You know what? Go back and listen to Bob Dylan's The Hurricane. It's one of my favorite Bob Dylan songs. Go back and listen to The Hurricane. Mm-hmm. No way you could put that out now.
Nope.
Even though it's a song advocating for the injustices done to a black boxer, just the words that he uses in the thing, you can never do that these days.